screening and vetting, and historically refusing to take back their own citizens who overstay in the United States. Some of the countries are now retaliating. That's our focus on the show. Thank you for joining us. The show starts now. Chadian President Mahamat Idris Deby has announced that his country will suspend the issuing of visas to U.S. citizens in response to the Trump administration's decision to ban Chadians from visiting the United States. Trump announced the policy after a firebombing attack in Colorado, saying it is necessary for national security. It revives a controversial travel ban that Trump had enacted during his first term and promised to restore while on the campaign trail. Here is our cover report this week.
President Donald Trump once again banned people from countries his administration deems dangerous from coming to America. The travel ban is a repeat of an order of his first administration that led to widespread confusion at airports. This version includes Afghanistan, Myanmar, Chad, the Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. The entry of nationals of Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela will be partially restricted. The Republican president's first travel ban was issued in 2017 and banned travel to the US by citizens of 7 predominantly Muslim countries. There were reactions following the president's order. Residents of Togo's capital expressed dismay. In Lome, the capital, residents were frustrated with the ban, which they said will dash hopes of studying or working in America to escape economic hardship at home. The restrictions come amid difficult economic times in Togo, where many view migration to the US as a path to a more secure future. The ban is part of Trump's wider immigration crackdown launched at the start of his second term.
This unfortunate news has just been announced, and it is truly disappointing because we all had hope for a better tomorrow. Currently, in Togo, things are not going well, and everyone is expressing their difficulties in making ends meet. Even those with positions like inspectors or customs officers find it challenging to travel to the United States. The goal is to secure a better future.
Residents of Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, voiced strong opposition on the new US travel ban that includes their country following President Donald Trump's overnight announcement of the restrictions.
We have seen and heard what the US has said about Somalia on social media, but the truth is that Somalia is currently one of the safest countries in East Africa. Whether in Mogadishu or other regions, Somalia is secure and stable. This is the best and safest time for the country. The US is undermining the progress we've made in security and does not appear to support Somalia's stability. Young people should not be misled by the lies and propaganda coming from the US.
The US is wrong to claim that Somalia is not safe. Somalia is secure and rich in resources. Security continues to improve each day and is increasingly reliable. The US should focus on its own security. Somalia is safe and does not need security assistance from the US. We are self-sufficient.
Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab has waged an insurgency in Somalia since 2007 and has recently been battling the army to extend gains in central Somalia. Sierra Leone, however, pledged to work closely with the United States to address visa overstay issues after being included in a list of countries facing partial travel restrictions under a new proclamation by US President Trump. Sierra Leone's Information Minister Chernor Ba says the country was committed to collaborating with US authorities to resolve the issues that led to its inclusion on the list. He said that Sierra Leone was placed on the list due to an unusually high percentage of overstay visas in both student and visitor categories.
We welcome the fact that it's not a ban on Sierra Leone, because they have made clear that the category that we are in, if you currently have a visa, you can still travel to the US. If you're a legal permanent resident, you can still travel to the US. For official purposes and things like that, you can still travel to the US. And the secondary parties as well, there will be a review in 90 days. We hope that the engagement that we'll have, very proactive engagement with our US partners, will ensure that at the end of that review period, when an updated list comes out, Sierra Leone will not be on that list. That's all we can do as a country, and we're absolutely committed to doing that.
There are some exemptions to the travel ban. Most notably, the United States is hosting the World Cup and the Olympics. Some of the countries on Trump's list are expected to send teams of athletes to these competitions. Those athletes will be exempt from the ban, as well as staff and immediate relatives. Africa Bureau, WION World is One.
Moscow wants to enhance its military ties in Africa, as according to the Kremlin, after reports that the Russian paramilitary group Wagner was leaving Mali. Diplomatic and security sources say that Wagner, Russia's best-known mercenary group, was no longer present in Mali, and its units have been taken over by the Africa Corps, overseen by Moscow's defense ministry. Mali, ruled by a junta that seized power in coups in 2020 and 2021, has never officially admitted Wagner's presence, insisting it only worked with Russian instructors. Here's a report. The Russian mercenary group has been operating in Mali since 2021. Working with the military to challenge Islamist militants. In a message on its Telegram channel, Wagner said it had fought terrorism side by side with the people of Mali, killing thousands of militants and their commanders who terrorized civilians for years. The withdrawal announcement comes the same day as reports that Malian soldiers had pulled out from a major base in the center of the country, after it came under a second deadly attack in less than a week. Mali has been grappling with a militant Islamist insurgency for more than a decade. Following accusations that the government had been failing to deal with this insecurity, the military seized power a few years ago. French troops, which were originally deployed to help the civilian government, left the country in 2022. By then, the junta in charge of Mali had already begun working with the Russian mercenaries to combat the insurgents. There has been a resurgence in jihadist attacks on military bases in the Sahel state in recent weeks. At the end of May, an Al-Qaeda-linked group said it had carried out a major attack on the town of Bulikesi and the army base there. More than 30 soldiers were killed. The same group, Jamaat Nusrat ul-Islam wa al-Muslimin, or JNIM, said it targeted the military in the historic city of Timbuktu, with residents reporting hearing gunfire and explosions. Insurgents also attacked an army post in the village of Mohu in the southeastern Sikasso region, killing 5. The increased assault in the Sahel region have raised concerns about the efficacy of Wagner Group in that region. Although the paramilitary group has announced its exit from Mali, Russian forces will still play an active role in the country's security landscape. Fighters from Africa Corps, a rival Russian mercenary force intended to absorb Wagner's activities in the continent, will remain in Mali. Russia has an increasing military, political and economic influence in West and Central Africa. The announcement did not state whether Wagner would be leaving the Central African Republic, where its African headquarters are currently located. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One. In Congo's east, armed occupation and insecurity have displaced farmers, preventing them from saving seed, planting and even harvesting. The failed harvests are pushing up prices in Bukavu's markets and stirring fears that hunger is looming. Despite the hurdles being faced in the farms, the education system is sprouting. Here's a report.
In the marshes of Bushumba, fields lie flooded and fallow after weeks of fighting in Kabare territory, forcing farmers like Sikuru Mwarugamba to abandon their planting season. Returning to her 2 hectares of beans and cassava, she found shoots stunted and tubers rotting in waterlogged soil. Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo has been swept by renewed conflict since January 2025, when the Rwandan-backed M23 rebel group seized Goma and pressed into South Kivu, including Bukavu. Their advance reopened major roads once choked by militia checkpoints, yet left rural areas vulnerable to banditry and sporadic clashes, displacing thousands and disrupting livelihoods. The combination of armed occupation and insecurity has brought food production to a standstill. Without safe access to their land, families cannot plant or harvest, pushing up prices in Bukavu's markets.
During this period of war, the beans we had already planted. When we fled the war, we abandoned everything. We left with the remaining seeds that we were supposed to plant, but we ate them where we fled to. Now, upon our return, we found that what we had planted was already spoiled because we hadn't done the weeding. Rats also ate what was left in the field. That's why we won't have seeds for this year.
Traders report the price of a measure of beans rising from 4,000 to 5,000 Congolese francs as merchants turn to samples from Goma to fill gaps left by failed harvests around Kabare. Some like Beatrice Bahati in Kabare Center have improvised solutions. Too fearful to return to distant marshes, she converted a small plot beside her home into a steep garden of sweet potato vines, hoping it will provide food during the dry season.
In my opinion, this risks being complicated, even in the long term, because if producers, upon their return, don't have access to seeds, it will be difficult for them to plow, cultivate, and harvest. So it's practically famine that's looming.
Aid agencies in both rebel and government authorities now face the urgent task of securing farming areas, restoring access to inputs and markets, and preventing South Kivu's silent fields from tipping the region towards famine. And as farmers focused on yields on their farms, tens of thousands of secondary school students took state exams in rebel-held Eastern Congo this week, a complicated logistical feat requiring rare cooperation between the government and M23 rebels. The state exams administered across the sprawling Central African country for students hoping to go to university will continue through mid-June.
Les épreuves depuis le premier jour se déroulent.
The tests, since day one, are proceeding normally. We had concerns in certain areas due to threats the day before, but since Monday everything has been going well. Of the 44,000 registered, about 41,900 showed up.
I feel happy. I feel at ease. With the war, our friends died. Others fled to neighboring countries. But today, I was able to finish my exam in secure conditions.
Human rights groups have repeatedly accused the M23 of executing civilians, including children, allegations the group has denied. President Felix Tshisekedi's government announced last month it was waiving exam fees, which normally exceed $40, for students in North and South Kivu provinces, citing insecurity. While M23 has previously said it seeks the ouster of Tshisekedi's government, the group's leader Bertrand Bisimwa says that it still recognizes Kinshasa as the administrator of national exams. Africa Bureau, WION World is One.
She is called the Queen in Wildlife Conservation. Ugandan vet turned conservationist Martina Kia transitioned to wildlife conservation during the pandemic and today cares for nearly 1,000 animals. Her daily routine now includes feeding zebras, caring for lemurs, and nurturing lion cubs. Here is her story.
She briskly walks beside a lioness, occasionally playing with its tail, at the CTC Conservation Center near Kampala. These wild animals are not domesticated, they are just nurtured at this sanctuary. What's more striking is the fact that zebras who are not friendly towards humans allow 29-year-old Martina Kia to stroke them, pet them, feed them, and even follow her. Kia is indeed breaking new ground in Uganda's wildlife conservation efforts. She cares for nearly 1,000 animals from over 40 species.
Previously, I was working as a small animal clinician in a small animal clinic in Kampala. I met the owner of CTC, Thomas, there because he used to bring some of his animals for health checks and for treatment. And then when COVID hit, I didn't have much work going on, so I came to visit the site and there was some veterinary work that needed to be done. So he contracted me to do that work. And then as the pandemic continued on and it seemed like I wouldn't be getting work again, I got offered a job.
Her daily routine now includes feeding zebras, caring for lemurs, and nurturing lion cubs. Her responsibilities range from routine vaccinations to developing recovery plans for sick animals.
Yes, there are quite a number I've saved from death, and one important one is Sarabi, one of our white female lionesses. She had a nutritional deficiency a couple of months into her first arriving here, and we took long to realize that, but immediately I did. I instituted a proper health plan and she recovered, and now she is a grown woman of 5 years old with very many offspring.
As more women take leadership roles in African conservation, Kia hopes to inspire the next generation. Her work is transforming the CTC Center into what could become Africa's largest private conservation hub.
The baby animals, I also would say, really is of great importance to have female staff as well for raising them, because they just feel a lot safer, the soft voice, the motherly touch, let's say. From that point of view, it makes sense, but also generally, working with animals, women being in a motherly role, often they just connect better and are more caring.
The trend mirrors developments elsewhere in East Africa, such as in Kenya, where Paula Kahumbu leads Wildlife Direct as CEO and is a prominent elephant conservationist. Africa Bureau, WION World is One.
In Nairobi, a group of fearless young aerial performers are using hoops and silks to deliver a jaw-dropping message about climate change. Led by aerial arts teacher Christine Misenga, these Kenyan kids are not just flying, they are fighting for the planet. Here's the other story.
Children soar through the air on silks and hoops at Kenya's National Theatre, but this aerial display carries a serious message about climate change. Urembo, the not-so-beautiful show, Kenya's first aerial arts competition for young performers, tackles environmental issues through choreographed routines. 29-year-old Christine Misenga, a Congolese aerialist who founded the event, said she wanted children to understand global warming.
We have high global warming, and I really wanted to do something where the kid could understand that, and I wanted to know, how does a kid get to understand such a big issue? And then, thank God, one of my students is like head of eco in her school. So the more she talked, I was like, oh, they actually understand. Because before I used to think, oh, they don't. But with each child, when I was creating the performance, we got to like, oh, so what's your performance about? So what is it about? And they got to like understand what is happening around the climate and find a solution.
I believe that every small thing you do makes an impact. You're never too small to make a difference. So even if you plant one tree, you still saving the environment.
Masenga, who came to Nairobi to study medicine but discovered acrobatics instead, runs BISO Learning, which teaches aerial skills in local schools. Performers drew inspiration from environmental clubs and personal observations for their acts on pollution, deforestation, and rising temperatures.
If we continue like littering and all the different ways the people were performing, our earth will slowly like get worse and we won't be able to live in it. And we need to like create awarenesses so that people know and understand and try to help what we're doing to our earth. Otherwise, we'll just destroy it.
It was amazing to see these kids performing today. It was so powerful to see them bring a theme that they care so much about with climate change, that matters for them, for their future, and that they can see we're in such trouble if we don't act now and fast.
Masenga hopes to make the competition annual and expand her program to more Kenyan schools. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.
The Ojude or Ba Festival is a colorful celebration organized every year by the Ijebu people in Ogun State, Nigeria. It is a testament to the rich cultural heritage of the Ijebu people and their commitment to preserving and celebrating their traditions. The festival offers a unique opportunity to experience the vibrancy and unity of the Yoruba culture. Here is their story.
The annual Ojude Oba Festival in Nigeria's southwest Ogun State, held on Sunday, June 8th, was a vibrant celebration featuring dancers, drummers, horse rides, and attendees dressed in colorful attire representing various families and age grades. Ojude Oba, meaning the King's Court, originated in the 19th century when Muslim faithfuls gathered to honor the royal majesty, the Awujale of Ijebu land. The glamorous festival highlights the rich cultural heritage of the Ijebu people and their dedication to preserving and celebrating their traditions.
It's more or less that this year is more better. So it's getting better year in year. And I can tell you, economically, is improving the Ijebu land economy.
Held on the third day after Eid el-Kabir, it marks the end of the Muslim festival. Ojude Oba Festival is a one-day celebration of culture, fashion, glamour, beauty, food and royalty, attracting thousands of attendees.
Ojude Oba Festival is a festival that is like a unification event that unify all the family, both the one in diaspora and the one in Nigeria.
I am so excited to be live at the Ojude Oba Festival. It's a pop of colors, so much tradition, so much culture in here, and it's so exciting to be here.
The festival serves as a vibrant homage to the traditions of the Ijebu people, fostering unity and economic growth while preserving their cultural legacy for future generations. Africa Bureau, WION World is One.
That's all the bars in Africa this week. All our social media platforms are open. Talk to us there. Your story always matters to us. We will tell it to the world. Thank you for watching World of Africa on WION World is One. I'm Eric Njoka. I will see you on the next episode.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
The stress of our world can take a toll on our physical and emotional health. Here, in New York's Catskill Mountains, lies a luxurious place of healing called WION Wellness Center. The WION Wellness Center provides 500,000 square feet of natural methods to manage diabetes, hypertension, chronic pain, obesity, depression, anxiety, and other conditions. We use the traditions of centuries-old natural science from India, yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy in personalized programs that help you take charge of your own health. A minimum 5-day stay is recommended for best results. Book now at yowon.com.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.